The Texas plains stretched endlessly beneath a bruised twilight sky, a vast and lonely ocean of windblown grass. Eli Cavanaugh stood in the fading light, hat pulled low, eyes fixed on the half-buried cellar door behind the old barn. He had lived his whole life on this land, tending cattle, fixing fences, and trying to forget the one rule his father had repeated more than any other: never open that door. But rules had a way of rotting, just like the boards beneath his boots. The week had begun with unease. First, 2 calves vanished without a trace. Then, the horses refused to go near the barn, snorting and backing away from the shadows cast by the sagging roof. Last night, Eli had heard it, the low rumble of something moving beneath the ground, like thunder trapped in the soil. When he went to check, he saw it. A dark patch spreading near the cellar entrance, the dirt wet, as though something beneath was bleeding through. He told himself it was a busted water pipe, maybe an animal that got trapped and died down there. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. The wind kicked up, carrying the smell of dust and old rain. Eli grabbed his crowbar from the tool rack, his pulse drumming a little faster with every step toward the cellar. The boards covering the entrance were warped and gray, nailed down with the kind of determination that spoke of fear, not caution. The metal hinges had rusted to a deep, flaking orange. He hesitated, staring at the lock his father had hammered into place, still holding after 30 years. His father's voice echoed faintly in his head. "Some things on this land were buried for a reason, son." Eli spat into the dirt and set the crowbar against the seam. "Spread it open," he muttered. The wood groaned, resisting. He shoved harder. "Do it with force," he said through clenched teeth, pushing until the nails screamed and tore free from the frame. The door snapped open with a sound like a dying animal. A gust of stale air burst upward, thick and cold, carrying the unmistakable scent of decay. He staggered back, covering his mouth. The stench wasn't the musky rot of an old animal carcass, it was something fouler, heavier. Something that made the skin at the base of his neck prickle. When the air settled, Eli lifted his lantern and peered down. A narrow staircase led deep underground, steps caked in dust and streaked with something darker. The earth around the entryway was disturbed, freshly turned, as if someone had been digging there recently. Eli's stomach twisted. There shouldn't have been anyone out here. He ran a thumb across the lantern's glass, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. The wood creaked beneath his boots. For the first time in his life, he realized just how much of his father's silence had been hiding something alive, or worse, something waiting. And whatever it was still down there. Eli descended the stairs one cautious step at a time, his lantern's glow trembling against the walls. The deeper he went, the colder the air grew, unnatural cold, the kind that seeped into his lungs and turned every breath into mist. The steps gave way to packed earth, smooth in places, clawed in others, as if something had been dragged through. The silence down there was thick, broken only by the faint buzz of flies echoing off the stone. At the bottom, the stairway opened into a wide chamber braced with wooden beams. The smell was worse now, sweet and rotten, the unmistakable perfume of death long hidden. Eli's hand shook as he lifted the lantern higher. What it revealed didn't make sense. Crates. Dozens of them, stacked neatly along the walls. For a moment, he let out a shaky breath of relief. Maybe his father had used this place for storage. Old ranchers were known for burying tools, supplies, or whiskey they didn't want taxed. But then he noticed the dark stains pooled beneath the nearest box. Thick, dried, brownish black. He set down the lantern and pried the lid loose with his crowbar. The wood gave way easily. The smell that burst forth hit him like a physical blow. He stumbled back, gagging. Inside lay bones. Small, delicate, brittle with age. Skulls no larger than his palm. Eli's mind went blank. He counted without meaning to. 1, 2, 6, 10. Dozens. Maybe more. Children. He dropped to his knees, heart pounding so hard it hurt. A silver glint caught his eye amid the bones. He reached for it with trembling fingers and pulled out a locket, its surface smeared with grime but still recognizable. His mother's initials were engraved on the front, AC. Inside the locket was a photograph. His father, standing proudly with a child that wasn't Eli. A little girl, maybe 6, with his mother's smile. On the back of the photo, in his mother's handwriting, were 3 words. Keep her safe. Eli's breath hitched. His mother had disappeared when he was 12. His father told him she'd gone to live with her sister in Louisiana. He'd believed that. Until now. The lantern's flame flickered, then dimmed. A soft sound echoed through the chamber, a shuffle of boots on dirt. Eli froze. Didn't I tell you not to open it, boy? The voice was low, ragged, and impossibly familiar. His father's voice. Eli turned slowly, heart clawing at his ribs. Standing at the foot of the stairs was a figure in a wide-brimmed hat, clothes torn and filthy, eyes sunken and hollow as the grave. The old man's skin was gray, his mouth twisted in something that might have been a grin. You weren't supposed to see, the thing whispered. You weren't supposed to remember. The lantern went out. Eli's scream rose with the sound of shifting dirt, like a dozen small hands clawing their way out of the ground. And above the ranch, the wind carried that scream for miles across the empty Texas plains.